Okay, good afternoon. Just really to say what I said yesterday. After watching the tape, really pleased with how the guys competed. The execution, as we said yesterday, in the critical moments needs to be better for us to be able to win that game. I think my hat's off to Philadelphia. I know they had some, obviously A.J. Brown made a critical play, to set up one of those touchdowns at the end. And to finish the game out on third down. So my hat's off to him as well. But I thought it was a well-fought contest. And the guys battled. I thought on defense we did some really good things. The rush average was good. Those are one of the things we look at for sure. The takeaways were outstanding. Set ourselves up for a couple scores there. Obviously the one we didn't cash in on. I thought overall, we ended up getting some pressure through some blitzing. I think helped out a little bit, and did make the quarterback uneasy a titch. And but offensively, like I said yesterday, we didn't win offensively or defensively. We win the third down battle. We had to win that battle. That's something we always look at. We have to improve there. Offensively, we've been good all year on third down, but on defense, we got to obviously improve in that area still. But I thought we tackled well. I thought our tackling looked good. It was low. We were driving our feet. I was impressed by a couple of players. Joe Thomas came in there after Sanborn, and I thought he did an excellent job of stepping into that role. Again, he hasn't had a lot of time on task in that role. He's been mostly a Sam linebacker and working in special teams and done a good job there as well. But I thought he obviously made a couple of nice, real good tackles and put his hitting on display, which I've always impressed with the guys that like to hit. So that was good, and then also the DBs I thought did a nice job. Brisker and Gordon coming back, from their stay when they had concussions. I thought those guys made some impactful plays. And obviously the highlighted ones would be Gordon's, takeaways, so that was pretty impressive. DHC coming in there and making a nice interception, getting a nice interception return was also good. With that, I'll open up to questions. Obviously Montgomery had a great game. Had two scores. I thought he ran the ball well. We were at the runners were over 4 yards, and I think we were over 5 yards a carry, so that was good. It was good too. But with that, I'll open up to questions.
Share with his staff?
Yeah, just that it's encouraging with him, and I don't really have much of an update from there, but it is encouraging for him. We'll see where he is later today. He's seeing a couple specialists and stuff just to double check and cross check everything, but we'll see later today.
So he was released from the hospital.
Yes. Yep.
Encouraging relative to him being able to play again this season?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know yet. I don't know. All those injury reports will come out tomorrow. We'll know more as time goes, but that's where it is right now.
Any details on the nature of the neck injury? Because obviously neck injuries are a little different. They're a little scarier.
Yeah. I don't have the detail there yet. But I should be able to give it to you here shortly, but I don't have the detail yet.
One other health-related thing. Do you expect Khalil Herbert to practice this week?
Yeah. Yes, we do. Yep. He is cleared, ready to go. Like we said last week, he's got all his jumps, his speeds. He's been cutting. He's been moving. He looks great. We're excited about his return. Yep.
What's the update with Sanborn?
Yeah, Sanborn, again, will come out tomorrow. It was his ankle. We'll see where it is. We'll see if it's, a thing where he can come back from it or not. So we'll see.
Injuries have kind of piled up a little bit here lately. Are you concerned? It's a long season, 17 games now, 18 weeks, and the last 3-4 weeks are important to you. How much of a concern is it that you're losing players, and B, you don't really have enough of your main guys there to really get, in some cases, to get a good idea, especially with the receivers? So can you address that?
Yeah, we're hopeful, like I said yesterday, that Harry and Clay come back. We'll see where they are. It's trending in the right direction. We'll see where that goes, but we'll know more as the week goes on. Again, we got Simba. Simba came up and did a nice job yesterday. Did a good job catching a couple passes. Did a nice job on special teams. So it's whenever you have injuries, it's just next man up. And again, sometimes it's guys that are in that pair and a spare role. They were not even the backup, but the backup to the backup. And that happens. That's happened to us a couple times. But the guys got to play. And it's a great time to evaluate them and see what they can do.
Even Fields? Are you concerned at all about Fields? I mean, the last thing you need is for him to get hurt in the last 3 games.
Yeah, of course, I'm always concerned about Fields. I mean, that's going to be the quarterback, the franchise quarterback. That is a big issue always. So we're always looking to protect him and do a better job of that. And certainly we need to do a better job than we did yesterday. But we always look at that going forward.
Matt, as an extension of that, obviously this is the second
Game, he's had cramping issues.
Yeah.
He noted after the game he's got to take better care of that. But how do you guys collectively as a group make sure that's not an ongoing issue? Because obviously you don't want your starting quarterback leaving in a 4-point game on third down, right?
Yeah, that was a little stressful. But, I think that you have to look at it. I think the performance and the training staff, get together with him and let's have a conversation. And I know they've had those conversations. Have done a pretty good job of that. And, again, it's happened a couple times. So he's just got to be mindful of it and, come up with a plan. It's a good plan that works for him, because his body is different than everybody else's body. And it's also the conditions. The conditions are different. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold. The weather was, pretty cold yesterday. So we'll just come up with a good plan.
Is that a morning or game plan that you're trying to solidify there, or is it?
No, I think it's something that we plan ahead. Sometimes you do it, a day or two ahead, and just keep on, keep it progressing, and hopefully we'll get it handled.
He said it's as simple as taking an IV before games. Is it that simple? Because he admitted he didn't yesterday.
Yeah,
Because he thought
it could be that for sure. Yep.
When you went back, I know you talked about Jalen Johnson's performance yesterday, but when you went back and watched it, did you learn anything else in terms of perspective on how you evaluate how he did?
Yeah, like I said yesterday, I thought he was competitive. There were some good competes for the ball. He knocked a couple of those out. One on the fourth down was excellent. Like I said, he competed. That's a good player. He's a good player. He's goes against a lot of different corners, and he's had success against a lot of different corners. And I thought Jalen was very competitive.
With Kyler Gordon, obviously the turnovers, the takeaways really stand out. But when you go back and watch the tape, how do you evaluate his day kind of in the context of his growth from the beginning of the year to now?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it showed good maturity for him to take that time off and then be able to stay focused and have that energy that he had. I thought he tackled, solidly. He was good there. The one deep ball to Smith, he's just got to be able to play that a little bit better. He's got to pin him on the sideline when you get him to the inside the red line there, and then play the ball. I thought our defensive backs, we really worked on it hard last week about our defensive backs playing the ball so they wouldn't get DPI. Like, for example, I think the week before, I think it was Jones had one. They didn't look back for the ball, I think it was. But so we worked hard on that. And I thought our guys did a good job of playing the ball and also covering their guys. So that was impressive to see. I want to say we at least had 3 of those like that. So that was good.
Justin said yesterday after the game, it's not his goal to be a 1,000-yard rusher every season.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you agree with that as you build roster around him. But he did come out and say he was kind of intrigued with the fact of setting the new record that was set. He's only like 207 yards away. How do you compromise that within the game plan heading into these final 3 weeks? And is that something you'd like to see him do?
I think if it happens, it's great. I don't think it's something that we'll focus on. I think we'll just use him the best way we can to win the football game. So we'll take a look at it, each individual defense that we face, unit that we face, and then go from there what's best for our team to win.
Matt, Justin's been tested with some of these receivers coming in and out of the lineup, forced to develop some new chemistry with some of these guys. How have you seen him within the course of standing in the pocket and building that trust or recognizing what's there in coverage versus what's not?
I just think he's progressing in that way. He's doing a really good job with that. I think yesterday, obviously, with that good defensive line they had, he didn't have a lot of time when we were, dropping back. They did a really good job, like you guys said, with stunts, and that was, something that we obviously noticed during the game. But when he does have time, I think he does a really good job of progressing through his reads and delivering the ball on time. It's like the first one, that first third down we made, the St. Brown, when St. Brown got hurt. That was an excellent pass and an excellent timing, and I thought rhythm was really good.
Man, your defense has had a little bit of a rough go since Roquan was traded and Quinn, since in the first 5 or 6 games of this losing streak. Did yesterday's game, even though the numbers weren't that great, did that kind of encourage you a little bit, or restore some faith in the hits principle and everything you're doing, or what was the effect?
Yeah, I think the last 2 weeks have been better. I know we're down some guys by injury and all those things, but I think the guys are playing together. They're playing together. They're playing the right way. They're hustling. The intensity's there. I know we had a bunch of strip attempts the week before, and we had a bunch, some good takeaways yesterday, which is encouraging. Like I said, we look at, a couple things, and one of them's takeaways. Obviously it's part of the hits principle, and the other one is run defense. We want to make sure we're squared away in the run defense. I thought that was really good yesterday.
How much of a factor was it in your mind that two of your foundation pieces, Brisker and Gordon, seem to have lifted the defense, made an impact? That's something that I think even no matter who's going to be here next year, that's something you feel like you can hang your hat on looking ahead, right?
Yeah, those guys have done well. Those guys are high energy guys. You can see that on the field. You can feel their passion. You can feel their intensity on the game field, and they do that in practice. And it's encouraging to see those guys, and I'm expecting big things out of those guys these last 3 games.
Matt, as far as Halas goes, what's the message to a guy who keeps making big mistakes in big moments, but is clearly pressing because of the opportunities have been limited?
Yeah, I would just say, like anybody that goes through adversity, just be encouraging. To encourage them, teach. Fundamentally teach. Know what we need to do during that moment. With the clasp hand and having 5 points of pressure, as I stated yesterday, and that's really it. And then just drill it and drill it and drill it. And he had the ball in the correct arm. Reddick ended up hitting his shoulder pad to his elbow, and the ball came out. So that means he didn't have 5 points of pressure on there. So we got to do a good job of that.
So this is not a thing where you would decrease his playing time or anything like that. It's teach him and then throw him right back out there, or do you have to?
Yeah, that's a discussion we have to have. A discussion we have to have as a group. And we'll look at it during the course of the week, and we'll make our decision as we go.
Yesterday, you noted how impressed
You've been with Justin's leadership.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you could elaborate a little bit and offer
Some specifics on where you've seen that growth in the last 4, 5, 6
Yeah, I just really taking control, taking command, of the offense. Okay, but I also see him, crossing the aisle, so to speak. I said this all a long time ago that we're the Chicago Bears. So it's not just, of course, he's leading our offense, but he's leading our football team too. And that goes for everybody. We want to be able to, it's just a Chicago Bear football team. We don't want to have offense, defense, kicking. And he's done a really good job of that, of bringing everybody together.
With Halas, especially with a guy like Halas, as a head coach, how do you kind of toggle or go between like encouraging and tough love? I imagine that's difficult for a head coach, especially when you deal with, like, publicly maybe you're encouraging and privately maybe you're tough love. But how do you handle, especially with someone like that? He's a third-round draft pick. A lot was expected. Brian Pohl said at the beginning of the year he's one of the guys we're counting on to support Fields, and now he's struggling. So how do you deal with that as far as being encouraging? Because he's always very upbeat, and then he keeps making the same mistakes. Maybe he needs something else.
Yeah, I would just say challenge. You got to challenge them. So go with encouragement. You also have to challenge. You got to challenge them to do things right in practice. Every single time. In terms of catching the ball. Violently tucking the ball, and then keeping the ball tucked. Through traffic, and all the way through the down. So that's really what we're going to do. We're going to challenge him to do that in practice, and then we'll see it in the games.
Matt, as far as Alex Leatherwood goes, he got 17 snaps. It was a 70-30 split. Was that how you planned the platoon, and how did you evaluate how he played?
Yeah, I think, we planned to do that. I thought he got some good reps in there. I thought he had some good moments in there, going against some good pass rushers, so I think he learned some, in there as well. He had some adversity, so that's always going to happen when you play some good rushers, and he's just got to build upon that and learn from that experience.
Keep the rotation going too?
We'll see. We'll see as it goes. We got some guys coming back. We'll see what happens as we go. All right. Yep.